Hey, this is another one of the Q&A videos about in Russia. This part is dedicated to everything regarding the post-production. How long did it take to edit? How did you find the sounds? And so on and so on. As this was also towards the end of our recording, we put some more general banter questions in there too, some more lighthearted stuff. We have timestamps in the description, and you find the links to the other sections and videos down there too. Have fun.
The first question comes from Roman. How many hours of footage did you have in the end?
Thank you, Roman, for crashing my computer. I actually tried to find out, and most of the ways didn't work. But then in the end, we shot in total 58 hours of footage, and in total 9.23 terabytes. So yes, it's a lot.
That leads to the next question, because so many people ask, how long did you spend on the edit?
It's a good question. I don't know. I think usually I would have done it probably quicker, but it was COVID this year, which was kind of a blessing for the Russia film, I'd say, because I was just stuck at home and stuck in Munich all of a sudden. And then I was like, might as well do that. I made 3 or 4 hours of the day free to just select footage. And that took me like 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. Crazy.
Or maybe it's, let's say maybe it's 4, because I started kind of end of March. Before that, I was mostly just playing PlayStation. And then I came over to Hamburg to start actually editing, but it still took another month at least before we really started editing, because you were also selecting at the same time, or doing like further selects. And what I was doing basically for a whole month is just Excel sheets of footage and grouping footage. And I think that is what took the longest. The actual edit, I would say we had a lot of breaks in between, but that was July and August. So I would say maybe 4 weeks or something was the actual edit, but most of the stuff was grouping, selecting again, more selects. And then we had September and October for all the VFX, all the post-production, colors, sound design. But there were breaks. So it's really hard to say like a general thing, but because there were breaks all the time for other stuff, or we just didn't do it full time. But you could basically say that it took us from end of March to when it came out in November now. We were basically mostly working on it, yes. So it took a very, very long time,
Speaking of selects, I think the next question fits perfectly as well. It's Ramsey is asking, how do you decide on shots?
I'll start. I mean, at first, like when I like created the timeline for the edit, it was really hard. Imagine like you have so much footage and you have to put one of the best shots in the beginning. So that was really hard at first. But then we had like tons of options. Vincent, like what he said earlier with these Excel sheets, he had like for every part of the song he made selects. So it wasn't like you were at the first part and then you had all of the footage like as potential clips. So that definitely helped a lot. And I don't think that it would have been possible to edit like a 6.5 minutes film without this extra work that we did in the selects.
If you have too much selection, then you're just overwhelmed and you don't know what to do. So what we did, as he said, is just put it in parts, selecting it like already in our mind and chapters. But even within those chapters, we did a select and then cut the select down again and again and then again. So I think personality-wise, I'm, for example, somebody who I'm going crazy if I go to a store with too much selection. Like I can't function anymore. Like I go somewhere and there's like 800 jackets. I'm like, I'm never going to buy a fucking jacket here. So it really helps for me to make everything as small and like you have a little bit of an overview. to
Same
do
with
this. And
restaurant
we have
menus.
exactly. So what we do sometimes, especially with this film, I think we had 4 rounds of just selects, like cutting it down again and again. So you really know, you also get to know your footage a lot if you watch it a lot, but then just make it less and less and less. And then it's easier for you and your brain to kind of to grasp what you want to do.
Tommy is asking, would it be possible to see a screenshot of your timeline? Is
Yes,
this possible?
it is possible. I'm gonna show it here. I didn't clean it up before I wanted to, but then I forgot, and this is it. It looks okay, I guess.
I must say, from all the latest films that we've done, I think editing-wise, one of the most straightforward ones.
Yeah.
In 99%, these are hard cuts. And we don't really have crazy transitions in between shots.
Not
we
that
have
many speed ramps as well, which is kind
not
of
that many speed rims. It's really pretty straightforward. The stuff that looks the most cluttered is always the sound design. That is the final timeline.
Many people asked, how do you build up the sound design and where do you guys get the sounds from? Do you have any libraries, any recommendations? I think that's something for you, Max, to answer.
all these sound design libraries they can be super expensive. So I would recommend for like a first one to buy the Motion Pulse Black Box, because it has a lot of sounds that you would otherwise, especially as a beginner, not know that even exist. And also it has like a good overview of, or like a good selection of a lot of different sounds, and also has like a lot of these like abstract ones, swishes, the ones that you can't get like off of free sound libraries. So you can use that as like a base, and then get like, if you need a rain sound effect, you can get that elsewhere, but you cannot get like a really nice bass atmospheric sound or that kind of stuff. It's from Video Copilot. I think it's like, I don't know, maybe $150. I don't know. For this project, I specifically bought sound design libraries because I know I needed a lot of different wind sounds, like a lot of nature sounds that I didn't have, or these ice particle sounds. The first step to a sound design is to like think about what sounds you want to use, like in what kind of sound world you want to go, and then pick sounds that you like, and pick sounds like that are kind of from like a similar world, kind of. Like for some edits, I use more like man-made sounds, maybe a fax machine or printers, like all this kind of stuff. But then for others, I like to use more abstracts that are not so realistic. And yeah, that's kind of for you to decide in what kind of world you want to go, like in a more artistic, unrealistic way, or in a more natural way. And then you just pick sounds that you like and try to combine them. And then there's always these Foley sounds that you need, but they are kind of straightforward to use.
So that's it for sound design. Then we had so many questions about graphics and visual effects and stuff like that. But we were very lucky to have 2 great guys on board, which was Moriel and Hans. Thank you very much. Shout out to you guys. And they did a very, very great work. I think all of us are not able to answer how they did it.
Hans is kind of a magician with all this effect stuff. I just told him what to do, and then something came out. If you ask me how he did it, no idea.
Cologne View is asking, how did you do the photo negative effect? Well, it's not an effect. It's not an effect. We really did it. we really shot it on film.
Yeah, so basically to get this kind of sprockets on the edge here, we got like regular 35 millimeter film, and then with an adapter put it into a medium format camera, so we could expose all of the film, not only the middle part. So, and because we knew that we would shoot in like a wider aspect ratio, we thought to make it feel even more real, get the last and the next picture just like it is on the actual film roll. So, I mean, obviously, people still didn't believe it's real. So, yeah, that was a problem, but still, we did it. It's not a cheap effect. It's all in camera.
Then the next question is Ibrahim. He's asking, how did you learn to edit the way you do? That's a question for both of you guys.
I really didn't. I started making snowboarding films once I dropped out of, not dropped out, once I finished school. I was the most proficient in just using computers. I was a little bit of a nerd back then. So when we were shooting all the snowboarding stuff, like people just dumped the stuff on me and I had to edit something. And I just really learned it by doing it.
For me, it was a little bit different because it was also later. So you had more resources, and also I was Vincent's intern. And yeah, I learned a lot there. But yeah, then after, I mean, editing is not that complicated in theory. Like you just take one shot and put the next shot behind that. So that's it. So it's not hard to do.
There's a difference between how to edit, and that's another question we got. How did you find the style to edit like this? Because I think when somebody sees a film of you guys, people who know you or people who know the films, I think they get an idea of like, oh yeah, that's a film of Vincent or Mook's edit or whatever. So I think that's how did you find the style?
I think for me, again, it was probably really good that I never learned anything or got taught from somebody else. So it kind of developed on its own. And I had one major thing that kind of pushed me towards there is that I started making snowboarding films very early on, and our snowboarding in itself from our crew was not the best. Sorry if I insult anybody from our crew back then, but the other crews had much better snowboarders, but we didn't really. So we approached it differently, that like the music and everything, like how everything was put together was super entertaining. And we had to focus on that very much. And also you kind of learn to remove problems from the footage. And then you know like how to edit it in a way that it's kind of still looks good. So I think that did help me a lot. But other than that, I would say let it develop, because it's not, for me, it was never really a conscious decision. It's not, it's like asking somebody like, how did you develop your handwriting? I didn't do that. It just kind of comes from your guts, and I think you should not think about it too much and do a lot of it like just by gut feeling.
I think we have some banter and random questions here, which we thought should be answered. So the first one is, what kind of education is needed to have a job like yours? Well, Vincent just talked about dropping out of school.
No, I did not. I finished school, yes, but I would say it's a great part about filmmaking in general. It doesn't hurt to have a education whatsoever. It really doesn't. Like it, I think sometimes I maybe miss it, but you absolutely don't need anything for filmmaking to actually succeed. It's not rocket science.
I did study, but I basically never went to the university. Like I just stayed at home, and yeah, I was more passionate about other things like editing, and so I didn't study that. I mentioned that earlier. But yeah, it gave me a lot of time to learn what I really wanted to learn. So I can only recommend studying.
I had a training. Actually, I had a training. It's in German. It's called Mediengestalter, which is I have no idea which that's it's a training where you learn from camera work to lighting to editing to you learn like all of it, but just a little bit, and then you can choose which one you are most interested in, and then you can drive in there. But yeah, I never met somebody who was like, do this training or do this education or study this and then you become this and that in the film industry. Never have, never will. There are so many people who did something else and they just went in there. I think it's passion, feeling, and
Yeah, and especially I think, to be perfectly honest, my job as a director is the easiest to bullshit your way through. You don't need any technical knowledge.
Nastya is asking, tell me your impressions about Russia, I think.
Okay. I don't know. They were good. Good impressions. My answer is good.
Good.
Can you type that in?
Хорошо.
Хорошо.
Хорошо. Yes, but to counteract the feeling that everybody thinks we're paid by Vladi,
True.
It's a lot better than we expected, but no place is perfect, obviously. There's a lot of stuff that is, I mean, we're not talking about anything politically. We're not talking about, like, this is not our judgment about how people live there or society. We said, like, our trips there were super fun. We're not making any judgment about, like, what Russia is and how Russia behaves, or like what the lives are there for the people who are there. We were 3 really good friends having a really good time in a foreign country. Fun people. It's a good time.
Fun people.
Crazy landscapes. Yeah.
The planned stuff was amazing, but also the random stuff, what happened. The people we met were super nice. So our impressions were good. So the next question is, Vladimir is asking, and many people are asking, at the end of the film, there's the to be continued. Should we take it serious and expect a next great film of Russia?
No. The to be continued. I started back then in Asia series because there was episodes, and then at the end it was always to be continued. And then in the last episode, I just put it in again, but more like we were already knowing that we shipped the car to South America the next year and do another one of these trips. And so I was like, hey, this is a cool idea. Like I just keep doing these, and that just stuck. From all the films, it always says to be continued in the end in that particular series in Russia, in South America, whatever, and it just says to be continued. But so far, there was not another video about the same country. I don't. I would love to continue the series in some form or another. I don't know. It's a lot of work, so I don't know if that will be anytime soon. But I would love to, and but it will probably not be Russia again. Although we really enjoyed our time.
Thanks for the answer, because the next question is, what country is next? USA.
Like a film-wise?
USA. I would say USA.
Yes, not as a holiday.
Not as a holiday. I would say USA, because USA. You were talking about Russia as the end boss of this 12 films, and I'm thinking it's USA.
Yes, I would agree with you. Russia is one of the end bosses. I think USA is probably the final boss. Yeah.
And then China.
China, I think, is also. I think they're probably the top 3.
Yeah.
I would love to travel China the way that you can travel other countries, but you can't. So that's really.
But that's again, that would make it more challenging again. Like as we did with Russia as well, because that's what I thought in a long time also as well, that we in Russia will have a lot of problems and stuff. But like just trying to navigate these issues and still getting to the places that are really important to us, I think would be a really cool challenge.
So we actually don't know. There's not a plan which country is next. That's just something which is in our
No,
minds.
we have no
I
idea.
think.
Actually, you
So,
cannot go anywhere now. So
Hey, what we could do? Thank you for our producers to set this up. Just make a poll. Like people can write in their own countries or whatever, and then everybody just like I want to know like what you guys think which country should be next.
oh
yeah.
yeah, that would be
Sure.
interesting. Everyone just puts their own country in there, I guess.
Let's do one about
Funny.
Germany.
No, never.
Never. So Tim is asking, if you compare the In Asia films with the experience you made now, what changed most?
To answer this easily is I think in Asia was around 80% holiday and 20% me shooting stuff, or me and Clemens shooting stuff. And now it's probably the other way around. It's like 20% of us having a little bit of a good time and 80% is shooting stuff. And a lot of people ask if these adventures look so fun and if they could join. But I think most people would actually not enjoy having a holiday with us. We love this. This is fun for us to have everything around getting good shot. Like everything is centered and planned around that now. And it's not like, hey, where could we have the best time or something? That really changed in Asia. Like most important thing was where can we have a good time? Where can we find nice off-road roads and stuff like that? And then maybe we can shoot something nice as well. And now it just completely turned around.
Sounds pretty good what you are talking about of Asia. We can do it the other way around, but travel longer so the 20% hold up to
Paco.
Paco.
We have an idea. What if
More
we film longer and do less? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds
Kleine
good.
Schweinchen.
More beer, less work.